Previously on Chat 62.
As a matter of fact, up until the last day that I left, the recruiter came to pick me up at my house in the van. My mom, she got on her knees, dude, and cried. And she's like, please, she's like, don't leave. I'll do anything. I'll get another job. I'll do whatever. So that just, and she's like, just don't leave me. Don't go. And it was tough, dude. And so that guilt was strong. I felt bad.
So you had to take that with you. So it's a flood of emotion.
Yeah, it was pretty much a whole van ride from there, from Computer City all the way to MCRD. I got dropped off by the recruiter. I didn't even go to the, on the bus. But imagine I'd never been away from home, never been anything. So this was the first. So all of that, I remember just those 2 hours or 3 hours in the van, just thinking about it. What if I tell them I don't want it? What if I tell them I just don't go? Like, I'm not going to go. Like, all of that was going through my mind.
Real quick before we start, we've streamlined our contact info. From now on, if you have any questions, feedback, or ideas for future guests, just shoot us an email at chat62podcast@gmail.com. That's chat62podcast@gmail.com. All right, let's fucking go. So you graduate from boot camp and you have a couple of days off. You're supposed to report to Camp Johnson, Camp Lejeune.
Yeah.
What was that like? Was this your first time leaving the state other than going down to Mexicali?
First time leaving the state. Yeah. First time leaving the state. First time getting on a plane. Yeah. First time just being away. And so it was late September when I graduated. I think I showed up it was either still September or already October. Mm. But yeah, we were fresh boots. Straight graduated from boot camp. I remember we checked in. We didn't even know, like, where do you report? And nobody knew that we had just graduated boot camp like a couple of days ago. So it was just weird. People, things that you assume or that Marines should know, like, we had no idea. At one time I think we were in formation, like that day or the next day or something. We were in formation. It was like a corporal that was leading the thing, and then one of the Marines was running, and he stopped. He's like, "What did you say if you ran behind a DI?" Like,
by your leave?
By your leave, yeah. He's like, by your leave, and like everybody started laughing. And it was like, what are you doing? Right? Can you imagine they think you've already gone to MCT and everything else. So it was some serious adjustment, right? To go from the strictness and of the boot camp. Not that school is so relaxed, but it does get a little bit more relaxed if you progress naturally from boot camp to MCT and then to MOS school. We jumped right into MS school, so that was a little awkward.
It's a little bit of a mind fuck.
It really was, man. It really was. But the classrooms, the classes were big because everybody, not everybody, a lot of just like myself, a lot of the open contract guys were there. So the class, I think they had like 40 people 40 of us in one class. I think it was big, but for some reason they needed a lot of administrators. Yeah. But it was cool because I was there during the time when the OJ verdict came out. Shit. I remember we were at the chow hall. And we were like, not guilty. Everybody went crazy. What about the school? You guys went to the same place, right?
Yeah, Camp Lejeune. Yeah, Camp Johnson. Yeah. What was your time in Camp Lejeune like?
It was fun. I enjoyed it. We went out a lot. We would go to some of the clubs that were there.
Driftwood.
Yeah.
There's a lot of this going on.
A lot of it. And then we were, dude, imagine we were, because we had just left boot camp, 12, 15 weeks or whatever, right? And then all of a sudden there's WMs everywhere that area, school and everything. So that was a whole different dynamic, right? So, but I had a great time, dude. I have pictures from there. Like, we would rent hotels on the weekend.
Yeah, I remember that.
And just I remember the bathtub just being full of beer and it was first time away from home, first time away from everything, and access to, the beer and alcohol. It was a blast. It was a good time.
How long did it take for you to make that adjustment from, standing at the POA for every reason to finally, kind of chilling out?
It took a while. I think you had to pick up cues from everybody else. Even I think it was a staff sergeant, the class instructor. He was chill. He was totally chill. So you take those cues, right? I'm sure if we had gotten a hard ass, right? Just moto, instructor. It would have been a little bit different, but he was just so chill. So you have to adjust. And then, you have everybody else. There's not just the O1 school either. I can't remember what other MOSs are there, but I think there's some other guys.
Supply, Motor T.
Yeah. So you got to experience all these different guys, and, and then where we were, or growing up where I grew up, right? It was pretty multicultural, but it was totally different. I had never met somebody from Texas.
South.
Yeah. And I remember some guy, I'm like, dude, where are you from, man? Are you from like Russia or Eastern Europe? He's like, no, I'm from Louisiana. Like, dude, that is a horrible accent, man. So not knowing any of that, right? So it's first time really just exposed to all these different cultures, right? But yeah, man, it was just kind of cool.
I remember asking a Samoan, what part of Mexico are you from?
Yeah. Nope.
Fucking wrong question to ask, man.
Shit.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's cool. I mean, I had never met somebody. Like I said, I remember meeting this guy who was I can't remember his last name, but he was from Texas. He has your typical, like cornbread Texas, Marine dude. And he was like the guide and got company honorman, all this stuff, right? So he was kind of cool to talk to and listen to how same thing. He always knew he wanted to be a Marine, but it was because his dad was a Marine, his grandpa was a Marine. They had Vietnam, Korea in his lineage, right? So seeing a different perspective of why people join, right? It's just different. I would have never met these people in my neighborhood or in my church, in my community. It was great.
Were there any other things that stood out during your time at Camp Johnson?
That's when I started feeling a little bit that I was off. Like I was so disconnected from back home. Like everything was different, right? Because you're so sheltered growing up, and especially if you're in the church, same community, same everything, you're so sheltered. It was just a shock to me, like being over there and seeing that I had access to alcohol. I had never drank, I had drank before, but not at the house, like stuff like that, right? So it was just different. I think it was just that, being exposed, just overstimulation of just so many things happening, so many new things that I had never experienced before. That was the biggest shock, just being away from home and like trying to understand, find my own way somewhere, right? But feeling homesick. I remember, October, November, I was like, shit, I'm gonna miss Christmas. Like I've never missed Christmas, and Christmas in a Mexican household is unlike anything, right?
It's on Christmas Eve.
Right? Yeah. I mean, we start partying at 6, 7 o'clock with dinner, everything. You don't open presents till midnight, and there is, I had 20 cousins at least. On my dad's side, maybe another 15 on my mom's side. So we would try to like go to both places. But I mean, and we would take presents, not just for us, but we were buying presents for all 20 cousins, right? And you start, at midnight, all right, let's go. And this is for whoever it is, right? And everybody's opening presents. So you're not done until like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then the party keeps going. So that was every year, right? Every year. So that started hitting me. I'm like, I'm going to miss that. This first time missing my family. So I did miss the family, like all of that. But yeah.
So you spent the holidays in Camp Lejeune?
I think I spent it in MCT.
So you graduate from Camp Lejeune, 0151, and now you have to go backwards and go to MCT now. What's going through your head? Like, shit, man, everyone else is going to the fleet and I have to go to MCT.
But by that time I picked up PFC meritoriously out of boot camp. I don't think I was a Lance yet, but I had picked up. So I wasn't like, and even that whole experience was different too, because we got to MCT, I was already at PFC, we already have our MOS. So we're showing up and they're freaking confused too, the corporals, right? They're confused. They don't know what's going on. So I'm like, good, now I'm going to have the experience of like doing the stuff that I want to do. They're like, oh, so you're already an 01? Why don't you come and help us with this stuff? So I remember I was like filling out papers, like, so I would get pulled from, and I hated that part. I'm like, I just want to get dirty, dude. I just want to do it, right? I remember like the first welcome that they did. I don't know if you guys have some similar. You have everybody's there. You got people talking to you about, I don't know, random stuff. I can't remember what they were talking about. But I remember one guy said, anybody here wants to be an 03? raise your hand and we're going to put you in SOI, right? Instead of it. A couple people were like, yeah, I don't mind. And they would go as opposed to going because they needed O3, I guess. I raised my hand. I'm like, cool. So this is my chance. So we all went. Many of us went. And then throughout that process, they found out. And I told them like, oh no, like I'm already at O1. And they're like, this is just weird. So nobody knew what was going on. So I thought I was going to luck out and be able to go like O3 and I couldn't. So then I just went back. But yeah, that was interesting. Going through that whole process. And you're not in boot camp shape. You're in freaking 3 months of drinking shape, you know? So that was different. What was cool though, I don't know, when I showed up at MCT, the drinking age on base was still 18.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Oh, shit.
I remember we went to the E Club down the street and we were drinking.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And somebody came and got us that we shouldn't have been doing that. And we already thought we were like, dude, we're like old school. Like we already gone to school. We're good, right? But that was a little bit awkward too. I remember that. And then having to go through MCT. But that was a lot of fun. And then we got our orders eventually out of school. I think I already had my orders. I already knew where I was going to go after MCT.
Shit.
Did you guys get your order? I mean, you had to, right? At the end.
Yeah.
So because I remember filling stuff out, like where do you want to go, or 3 places that you want to go, or something, right? And I was like, I don't care. I just want to go away. I don't want 29 Palms because my parents lived in Cat City and Palm Springs. I don't want to go to Camp Pendleton because it's right on the street. I'll go anywhere else. I want to go to Okinawa. I'll even go to Yuma. I'm like, I want to go to Cherry Point. I want to go to North Carolina. I'll go anywhere except Camp Pendleton. And obviously the Marine Corps does what it does, right? And Camp Pendleton. Yeah.
So when you graduated from, so how was your experience at MCT? I mean, you know, you said you weren't in boot camp shape. You're in Camp Lejeune shape.
Yeah, it was, I mean, we still did all the training, but then now that we had a little bit more seniority. So like I was a squad leader, all of that. So that, I think that helped with the experience. But other than, I mean, the physical stuff wasn't that, I don't recall it being any challenging, right? So that was, but it was, I remember being fun. Because all the training that you got to do, the little town, I think I remember they had like a little town that you would train on. I don't know if you guys had that.
Like an urban warfare?
Yeah,
kind of thing?
I remember they had that. And
Yeah.
that was cool. I'm like, oh, that's like in the movies. I just had a lot of, I wanted to do as much as possible, right? I did not mind getting my hands dirty. I liked outside. I grew up outside camping and hiking and everything. So to me, going out in the field was camping. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So all of that, it didn't matter. Like sleeping in our half, whatever they call them, all of that, dude, I enjoyed it. I freaking loved it. Yeah. Had never eaten foods besides my mom's beans and rice and what we would typically eat. So like meatloaf was brand new, mac and cheese was brand new. So I was just grubbing, dude. I loved it. I was eating all kinds of different foods.
Let me see what this grits is about now.
Yeah. Even MREs were good, I remember.
Yeah, they were. Some of them were. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was, it was, I had a great time. I really enjoyed that part of it. Yeah. Nothing too crazy. I was afraid of getting injured. I remember that. Because even in boot camp too, right? If you got injured, you got like held back. You went to whatever, the rehab platoon or something
MRP.
like that. Yeah. So that was always a concern to me. You know, like I had fun and everything, but I was like, man, I don't want to get injured. I want to keep moving forward, you know, and doing what I got to do with these guys that I came here. So I remember that was always in the back of my mind. So I was always doing extra stuff. I was always trying to do stuff to not get injured. And I never did. So that was good.
So you graduated from MCT. Did they give you your 10 days off, or since you did everything kind of ass backwards, or?
Yeah, I did.
And any hopes of going in any kind of recruiting duty, that went out the window, right?
I went out the window, but I did get leave. I think I got 15 days, something like that, which was cool.
Yeah.
I already had my orders to 1st Marine Division first. So I already had my orders of when I was going to report. So I remember I had time off and I was able to go home and and do stuff. I did have like 1 or 2 days here and there. Right? Like after boot camp, I think I had like 3-4 days, right? Because I remember going to my buddy's house and jeans and the green shirt and my dog tags hanging out, and yeah, I looked good.
You had to.
Yeah, I remember that, man. I remember, a couple days here and there, but not an extended period of time.
So your time's up. Did you do anything out of the ordinary while on your days during your time off?
No, but I did notice that it was the same shit, dude. I was going back to the same, pretty much same life that I left, right? Exactly the same time. Right? We're still going to a house party and it gets shot up. I'm still going over here and my buddy gets jumped. I'm still going over here and like this happens. And I'm like, hey, I'm a Marine. I can't get caught and like all this. So all that was always there, right? It was always there. And that's when I realized, I'm like, man, I'm not going to, there's no way I'm coming back. There's no way. I come visit and stuff, but that's when I saw the difference of, I don't want to say that I felt like I was progressing and they weren't, but it was almost like I had shifted, right? I had completely shifted.
Yeah.
But all of that was still happening, dude. Every weekend was still the same, right? With the buddies and everything, right? I got a good friend. He's serving life in freaking California for vehicular manslaughter, right?
Damn.
One of my other friend, he got shot and he just died a couple years ago. Still partying, got shot in the back of the head. Like all that kind of stuff. I was just always there. And I'd go back and that was always there. We'd go out, getting pulled over or just doing stupid stuff. Like I knew it was wrong or I knew I shouldn't be doing it, I would still do it, right? But I was still cautious. Like, but it was always there. Like, this is not good. This is not what I want. So I remember that was a huge shock. I'm like, shoot, that's all I know. So what's gonna happen, right? And not knowing anything. I hadn't even checked into my duty station. I didn't know anything. I didn't have any other friends outside of these guys in my family. So I didn't know what was happening. All I knew it was gonna be brand new, and dude, I was in it to just have fun and experience and enjoy just everything new, everything. I'm telling you, as I mentioned, something as simple as a new dish was kind of cool, right? But dealing with completely different stuff, independence on your own, making decisions, all of that was just totally brand new, totally different. Yeah. It was, yeah.
And your realization came with what the aforementioned, that came during those 15 days off.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because it was, like I said, I got to see like everybody, right? Not just the friends that I grew up, but just everything was still the same. Like it wasn't going to change. And I was like, yeah, this is why I joined. I wanted something different, right? Like my buddies, I didn't come back and they're like, oh yeah, no, I'm starting my first semester in college. No, it was same stuff, dude. Still, smoking, still drink, still doing exactly the same stuff, right? And then my brother, like now he's in high school, now he's all the same stuff. He was, and we'll talk, I'll mention my brother, you know him, right? So he barely, I don't think he graduated high school actually. I think he got a juvie, but like he was one of those guys, juvie, right? Continuation school, getting caught with, having guns on, all this stuff. And that, I had that guilt all through my enlistment because he was by himself with all this, right? Or with his buddies and stuff. And same thing, right? He's got buddies that are in jail, buddies that are dead, all the same stuff.
But in your head, you saw him as your responsibility.
Yeah. And the minute that I could help him, because just staying in that environment. So I pulled him from that environment the minute I had a chance, which was when I moved to Texas. And I brought him immediately so he could get away from all of that.
So your first duty station, you said it was the 1st Marine Division. Where exactly was your first duty station at?
Yeah. So, I just checked into 1st Marine Division. I think I was there overnight. And I think they were assigning me to like division headquarters or something. And then like day 2, they pulled me aside. They're like, yeah, actually you're going to go to 5th Marines. So it was immediate, right? 1 or 2 days there at 1st Marine Division in Mayside. And then I got sent to 5th Marines a couple of days after that. I remember going up first. I thought I was going to stick with S1 because they had assigned me to S1 or wherever it was. But then they said, nope. Then they assigned me to S3. So 5th Marines, regimental headquarters, S3. That's where I landed.
And could you tell the audience what the S3 department is?
It's operations. operations, right? So it's so S1 is admin, S2 is intel, S3 operations, S4 supply and logistics, or maybe just supply, I can't remember. But operations, within operations, you had all the NBC stuff. So chemical, what's the N stand for? Biological and chemical.
Nuclear, biological, chemical.
So that was part of operations. Air was part of operations, and then a couple other things. But at the regimental headquarters level, right? Imagine, what do we have? 1-5, 2-5, 3-5, 2-4. We had the engineers and we had the recon platoon, right? So whenever they deployed, or whenever any of them did or had operations, they had to coordinate with regimental kind of headquarters, right? So ops kind of did all that. So I got to see a lot of moving parts, like basically seeing how sausage is being made, right? So that was cool. I loved it. I loved it because when we would go on like ops or whatever, 1-5 is doing an exercise somewhere, we would set up a command operations center, right? And we were the ones relaying messages, or relaying from the air liaison commander that was there. He was like a major. We had a infantry person, a mechanized guy, whatever. They were all lieutenants or captains. Our operations officer, I think he was a major or lieutenant colonel, because our CO, 5th Marine CO, he was a full bird. Mm-hmm. The XO was lieutenant colonel, so he was a major. So in the office, right, I'm a PFC or Lance Corporal, but I'm listening and I'm hearing and I'm seeing all this stuff happening. So I loved it, because we were always out in the field, always going out, always doing ops, did tons of Caxus up in 29 Palms. But it was very interesting to see that, right? And I helped a lot, right? I remember doing maps for them, like on overlays. We would do lots of maps for the different people. And then where they're doing operations, right? Especially when you're doing, where you have the air involved, you have mechanized infantry, you have regular troops involved as well. And then you're passing all this data and communications from them, from the COC. We were the ones relaying that information. So we were working with the air wing, or at least got to see how all of that is done. So it was great. It was great. I mean, we did a lot of manual stuff too, because think of the tents that we would have to set up, right?
Yeah.
All the communications that were part of setting that up. So we were constantly like going and pulling it out, doing maintenance on it and all that. But yeah, no, it was me, and then I think a sergeant, a gunny, and then the master gunner sergeant was there, and then a bunch of officers. So it was an interesting time to see.
You're around a bunch of high-ranking Marines,
and they would, and I was always around, because I would either take notes or do reports. So I would do a lot of stuff. So I would get to hear the strategies and how they would talk about stuff, right? So that was kind of cool. And we would always do, not just for the battalions when they did ops locally, but like I said, it was Twin and Palms, it was Bridgeport, it was off, on the Pacific. They would do a lot of cross trainings. I remember I was part of one with the South Korean Marines. The Royal Marines were part of that. A couple other, for like a year, we had a officer from the Chilean Air Force, or Chilean Marines there. Like, he was officed out of our office. Uh-huh. Yeah, so he was learning something. I can't remember that way. I spoke Spanish, so he and I would talk. But he was taking, like, observing our programs and going to take some of those learnings and apply it over there, something like that. But it was cool.
That's a lot to take in right there. That's pretty fucking cool. What was your favorite time during your time at the S3?
At S3, I think it was when we would get to do that, go out to the field, do all those different kinds of ops. Just because you'd be out, and like I said, it was just fun, man. I really enjoyed it. We'd set up the COC. You'd have your shift, so I'd have like a 6-hour shift, wherever, late at night, and then the rest of the day you're kind of just hanging out. But it was great. Did that, and then 29 Palms, we would do Caxas up there. I think I did 2 or 3, because you got to see how everything is made. Even if you're just an infantry unit, we got to see how everything is done, how everything all the coordination that goes into, you take just one battle, right? You don't just send, boots on the ground. It's all these other movements and how are they strategizing? How do they do it? Right? They would do different games here and there. It was enjoyable. I remember that. I remember having fun. And I felt like I was doing, even though I was a 0151 admin, I felt like I was doing like fun shit. So
that's exactly what you
and
wanted.
that's kind of what I wanted. And I was always pushing to get deployed, like with one of the battalions, like on their floats or something. Always.
And did you have a chance to deploy?
I did. Yeah. I got to go to Kuwait in 1998. But I was already down in Conad at that time. But I strong armed myself in that.
Yeah. I remember that.
Okay.
Because I remember that. Orders.
Didn't you go, Alex? Didn't you go to Kuwait? Because I was pretty pissed because you went. Because you went like right when they bombed the USS Cole, right?
That's exactly. Yeah. So we went because I was like, and I remember we were down in Myrna Valley. I can't remember what that air base is there, and that's what they were saying. Like, oh, shit's gonna go down. And I was like, yeah, let's do it, man. I want to go. But I remember the orders came in through Conad, so they would come in, and I reviewed them, and they needed 2 people to go. I can't remember the exact billet. I was a corporal at the time already, and they're like, no, you can't go. There needs to be like a junior Marine or something. I can't remember because it was working at the chow hall. I was like, I don't care. I just want to go. And I convinced the first sergeant, I can't remember his name, bald.
Was it Fletcher?
Convinced him.
Michael Fletcher.
Convinced him. Yeah, I can't remember the sum, but I was pushing for it. I'm like, I just want to get out. It was 1998. I'm like, I have less than a year in my enlistment. I'm like, I just want to go. He's like, well, you might be there for a while. You never know. I'm like, I don't care. I'll extend. I just want to get out of here. So yeah, ended up going for a couple months, 2-3 months. It wasn't even that long. But yeah, I went, came back, and I still got out of my normal.
So what happened where you were no longer at the S3 and you came down to Conad?
Yeah. Staff Sergeant Acosta.
What happened?
Yeah, he recruited me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I mean, you remember Staff Sergeant Acosta, right? Hard charging, devil dog. I mean, he's awesome, right? So we kind of got along. I mean, because we were regimental headquarters, but we were still part of headquarters company. So whenever I guess we'd have like company stuff, we'd have to go, and we hated it. First sergeant, whatever, didn't like our gunner sergeant because he's master gunner sergeant. He's like first sergeant, So there was always kind of conflict there. But anyway, yeah, no. Out of all of that, whatever we did, I got to know Staff Sergeant Acosta. He learned that I was an 0151. He's like, man, you should come, and he would talk to me about it. And he's like, yeah, if you want to progress in your career. I can't remember exactly how he did it, but yeah, it worked out. I'm like, I wouldn't mind a change. Go sit in an office, air-conditioned office and then by that time, I already knew some of you guys. I knew Zapien, I knew Escanuela, I knew you guys already too, because I was in the barracks. So I was like, yeah, it'd be cool. I'm like, and you guys were like the fun group who didn't like and then Williams, dude.
Rest in peace, brother.
Rest in peace,
man. We were in the same platoon in boot camp. Yeah, that's where I met him. Yeah.
Yeah. Was he a turd? Was he a turd back then too?
Dude, check this out. Oh, Williams, dude. Here's the story. So when you finally get your camis with your, like you had 2 weeks before graduation, right? You finally get your camis with your name on it, and you can wear them, I think, or like whatever. I think I remember that. Well, that night or whatever it was, I would press my camis, right? I would always, they had a little locker, and I'd get the starch. I'd press my camis and shit, right? I was the scribe in boot camp. So I got to do like a bunch of that. I did a bunch of shit there. But anyway, I starched my shit, dude. I was so proud of it. It looked so good, right? And I remember everybody's lined up, right? And they're yelling at him. Because he just looks like he rolled out of a fucking, I don't know, like a tumbling reed. Dude, they're like, you look horrible. Completely, he didn't care. Like, he just put them on however they came. Didn't do it. He just looked like, I don't think he even knew how to tie his shoes. Just, I don't know, dude. And the reason I remember it so clearly is because he pulled me to show me. He's like, look, he pressed his camera. So I'm like, sorry, dude. You know, I want to look good. I don't think he owned that iron, dude. Oh my god. But yeah,
Throughout his 4 years, he didn't own that iron.
he was, dude. And I think they gave up on him. Like that's just, and I think he was accepted too. I mean, I don't think I ever saw Williams mad or anything. He was just like, right? And he just figured out. He's like, this is just how I do it, man. This is how I dress. Like, I don't
I'm
know.
a fine. I remember Dre saying, "Man, I'm a fine motherfucker."
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I love Dre.
No, yeah. I remember that too.
Fucking
He's
A.
like, man, when I get out, I'm gonna go model. He's over there telling me I look like Denzel Washington.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Man, he was a good guy, man. I miss him.
Yeah, he was a great dude, man.
Funny.
God rest his soul.
Yep. So that's how, so after the Costa recruited me, I went, and I don't think he had a corporal at the time.
No.
I think everybody was still a lance. So when I came in, he gave me responsibility.
Yeah, you're the NCOIC.
Yeah.
I think you replaced Perez.
That's what it was. Yeah, I remember that. I remember Perez.
Fucking
Yeah.
Perez.
So somehow that worked out. I think that was the first time I got like direct leadership. Because in S3, we had the ops chief who was an E9, then we had a gunny, then we had a sergeant, whatever, right? But it wasn't where I felt that somebody actually took and like tried to develop. That was his thing, dude. I mean, I don't know. He needs to be studied as like somebody that can build and grow Marines, because he was a great leader, dude. A Marine. He was a great Marine. I'm sure he's a great leader in his life or whatever he does, right? Corporate life or something. But I remember that, dude. I always felt that I was important to the office, and he would make an attempt to always connect you to the bigger mission.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys got this, but I remember him taking me up to the regimental headquarters and walking me through everybody that's won the medal or that's gotten the Medal of Honor up there. And he's like, here's 5th Marines, here's what we've done, right? So he would try to motivate you in that. And I just motivate you like daily and go do this, go do that. But like, hey, we're fucking Marines.
But the picture,
yeah,
the bigger
he
picture.
would do that. He was the first leader that actually did that. And I take a lot of his lessons. I still apply them today, right? Like, how good of an employee can you be, right? You can be a great employee only if you know what like that goal, that overall mission is, right? You're not just looking at it like that. But he was great. I loved him as a leader. I think where he and I clashed, because we did clash eventually, was by that time I had like a year left, maybe a year and a half left. And I had already made up my mind. I'm like, I'm getting out after the 40 years, right? So he was trying to like, keep me in, or not necessarily keep me in, but kind of motivate me. So when I made my decision, I'm like, no, I've already flipped the switch. Like, I'm going downhill now for the next year, right? He didn't like that because I checked out. I checked out, So he didn't know how to lead me in that way, right? Like I didn't want to be fake either. So he, and that's where I was like, dude, I appreciate what you're doing, but look, I don't want to go in another 4 years or whatever it was. But he was a great leader. He really was.
Yeah, we need to do our best to get him on here and have him tell a story.
That's when I felt. That's when I really felt like a true Marine, like being led and being instructed. Right, he helped me get in. When I did the corporal course. He showed up at my graduation and he was congratulating me. He showed me all this. Just great leader, absolutely great leader. A lot of his lessons, a lot of those lessons that maybe I didn't appreciate while I was there, or the way he did it, but now I see it, right? Or I've seen it in my career, like how to lead people and how do you develop teams, right? Think of everything that he did to us, right? Like whatever, even just a run, always, right? If you have a shitty leader, like you take your team or take your platoon or take whoever just on a 3-mile run, right? Just keep them together, keep them tight. Somebody that doesn't want to be motivated or in fitness, they wouldn't do it. But he was always like that. He was always pushing and going out or doing a hump here or running and whatever it was. So yeah.
Everything he did had a purpose.
Yeah. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can only imagine how he was as a GI. I can Right.
It was ruthless.
He did what, two tours?
Yeah. And because he went back shortly after I left. He returned. You know, I remember that. But yeah, no,
I remember that.
and that's when Sasha and Douglas came in. That's when I went to Kuwait. When I got back, that's when they put me back in S3.
Okay. So you did 2 tours at the S3. What was your time at Kuwait like?
It was interesting because I was working at the chow hall. Like that's what we were doing, right? So we were in a camp the main camp, I think, was Camp Doha, where like the big place, right? Army was there, I think, Air Force. It was a lot. It was right by the like downtown or Kuwait City. We were in, I can't remember, maybe 30, 40 kilometers outside of the city, and like it was like a Kuwaiti tank school. So it was a little base, but it was pretty. It was like had nice like gates and walls around it. You know, we were sleeping in like manufactured homes, like a single wide with ACs that were there. It was hot as hell, but it was an interesting time because we got, you know, and we would drive into Kuwait City to Camp Doha on a daily basis to go pick up chow for everybody. So we would go and bring it back. I want to say daily. It had to have been daily. So we would go there and then come back. So we would have to leave the base and go through the highway and into Kuwait City. We would hang out in Kuwait City a lot. Go hit up Mickey D's, I think, was there, and KFC, something like that. Go smoke the hookah. It was just a cool time. It was post-liberation, right? Pre 9/11, right? So we were very well appreciated and welcome. We never felt any different. So we would be driving down everybody wave, say hi, whatever. It felt good to be in another country where you were, you know, respected and appreciated. You felt that because this was what, 6 years after liberation, 7 years maybe. So we still had a presence there, but it was pretty cool. Yeah, lots of poker. Played poker a lot. What year was the World Cup? It had to have been 98, the World Cup. I think it was the World Cup because we were watching it while we were there. But yeah, lots of just sitting around waiting, right? Sometimes we'd go out and like shoot here and there, but I was just working at chow hall. We'd go, bring all the chow, bring it, serve, and that's what we were doing. Yeah, it was pretty cool. How
long were you in Kuwait for?
I think it was about 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to check my record. I have a copy of my SRB, and it's in there.
I think we all do.
It was short. I wanted to stay more.
During that time in Kuwait, at that point, did you say, you know what, I'm going to finish out my enlistment? Or was there something during that time said, you know what, hey, maybe I might stick around?
No, I by that time, I already knew I was going to get out. I already knew. Yeah, I already knew. So I was trying to do as much as possible.
You just wanted to chalk up the experience.
I did go through a period, especially when I was in Conrad. I went through a period of like really looking, okay, what are the options, right? What can I do? I talked to the career advisor. I can't remember if that's what they're called. Just trying to figure it out, right? I'm like, but what can I do? And then the whole consolidated admin thing was happening. So I had picked up corporal like a little bit after my 2-year mark. So I had been a corporal for a while already. I was trying to pick up sergeant before I got out because I picked up meritorious everything. You know, out of boot camp, and then I picked up meritorious lance and meritorious corporal. But I wasn't getting promoted because they had closed like all the promotions because all the consolidation stuff was happening. I was trying to get out and do a different MOS, and that wasn't working out either. So it was just roadblock after roadblock. I'm like, I want to continue, but I don't want to do this. I don't want to be in an office. I was looking at other options. Recruiting was an option. I'm like, I don't mind doing that either, you know. But after all that, it just didn't work out. And I had been going to college while we were there. So I was going to college. I can't remember just north on I-5.
Saddleback, no?
Yeah, I was going to Saddleback College I was taking classes there at night. And that was just challenging. And at that time, there were some correspondence classes because I remember I took a correspondence course. I can't remember which school. But it was like old school correspondence where like they would send you the book, you would do it, and I would mail it. It would get graded, and then they would send it back. So it was just too difficult. I knew I wanted to go to college, so that was it. So after all that, when all that happened, I saw how difficult it would be to accomplish what I wanted to if I stayed in. I knew I couldn't go because I was going to Saddleback College, taking one class here, one class there. I'd miss a lot just because of stuff that was happening. I knew that if I wanted to go to college, I needed to get out and do it either full time or just do it more focused, more dedicated.
More hands-on too, right?
Yeah. And that's when, and I made a decision and that was it. Yeah. I like I said, I knew already like a year and a half before I got out, but that was the decision.
So when you get back from Kuwait, how long is it between returning back to the States to when you go back to S3? And why did it happen?
Well, I think it was immediate, actually.
Okay.
I think it was pretty immediate. Where I got back, shit changed. Master Gunner Sergeant, he had retired, so a Master Sergeant took over. So there were some changes, and I don't think there was a place for me in Conrad anymore. I think that's what it turned out. Because you guys were already consolidating, I think. You guys were already moving to the other building, I think. It all happened during that time. I can't remember.
Yeah, August of 99 is when we consolidated.
So you guys were still at the barracks
Mhm.
in let's say, beginning of 99?
Yeah. In the beginning of 99, yeah, we're still in the barracks. Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause I think Moon was still there, right? You were still there, or did you leave in 98?
No, I was there. I left in February of 99, but I think what happened is Escanuela picked up.
Yeah.
And so
did.
he was handling it.
Yeah.
Him and Treadway.
Did
Yeah,
Treadway pick up?
Yeah, Treadway picked up Corporal. Yeah, I remember Treadway picked up Corporal.
Yeah, so it's something like that. It just happened, and then so I ended up finishing up my 6 months or however much I got, because I got out in June 99. But yeah, even when I was in Conrad, I did all kinds of crazy shit down there. Because I wasn't specialized in SRB or doing anything else. I was like general stuff. I did the legal stuff. I don't know if you remember I don't know if you guys.
Yeah, you were doing the page 11s and the page 12s.
Yeah,
right?
dude, that sucked ass. I hated that. I hated it. I did have a funny story though when I was a legal clerk, or I don't know if I was a legal clerk, whatever they called it. So every morning, I would do a morning report. Motor T, NBC, they all would send a report of where everybody was that day, right? If somebody was out or on leave or they were training or whatever it was. So everybody said it. Well, I don't know if you remember, but the people that also reported in headquarters company was the medical.
RES, yeah.
But they didn't hang out with us. They were never there, right? So I would get random reports here and there, nobody paid attention. They did their own stuff, right? It wasn't really a big deal. So one time I'm sitting there, this guy comes in to our office right in the barracks. And he's like, "Hey, are you in Mendoza?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "We need you up in whatever. I guess we have a base court, wherever it was. It was by the chapel." He's like, "Yeah, we just have a couple questions. The attorney or the lawyer, whoever it was, has got a couple questions. So if you don't mind, just wait here." And I was in my camis, right? And he's like, "We'll call you in shortly." It's like, all right. They come in, they ask me, "Hey, come on in." And I walk into it and I'm in the middle of the fucking court. They're like, "Raise your right hand." They're like, "Yeah, Corporal Mendoza, you're supposed to learn by the truth." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" And there's a judge and I'm right here. There's a jury. There's a bunch of people there. And I'm like, "What the hell?" And they're like, "Corporal Mendoza, is this your signature on this morning report?" They're like, "Yes." They're like, "Okay, well, did you report," I don't know, whatever his name was, a Navy guy, as being present? Because this was he went AWOL. He was gone for a long time, right?
Oh shit.
And I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." I'm like, "Hey, no, but they send the reports, but they're never, that's not what we asked." And I'm like, "Holy shit, dude." I'm like, "Am I going to go to jail?" So all of a sudden I'm in front of this court, dude. Yeah. And they ended up kicking him out or whatever it was. But I had to go and testify under oath, not even knowing. Going into the court, dude. I was like, I'm not cut out for this office stuff. I'm done. I'm done with this place. I felt like jail, man. But yeah, that was funny.
Oh shit. Can you share a moment that really defined your time as a Marine? Something that really stuck with you other than almost getting sent to jail on a morning report.
Oh, man. Do you guys remember, what's his name? He was a gunny in headquarters company. I think he was a company gunny for a while. Then he became a chief warrant officer. Yates. Is Yates?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Gunner Yates.
Gunner Yates.
Yeah,
okay,
I remember him.
He was still a gunny or staff sergeant, right? And this just sticks with me since then. we were doing a CAX, and he was like, we all lived in the same place in those. They weren't A-frames.
Is that the Quanta
The
Huts?
Quantum Huts, yeah. We were all in there, right? And he had his own place, whatever. So he was a cool guy, right? I don't know if you remember him. He was
Yeah, he was really
Very
cool.
cool.
very cool, right? Okay. So cool dude, right? So we're out in CAX. So 29 Palms has the main side, or the main place, right? And we were like way out there where we were, right? Super Bowl starting, Super Bowl Sunday, and we're all out there, and we don't leave. You can't. You don't have cars. You don't have vehicles. You don't have anything, right? So Gunny Yates, being the fucking cool guy that he is, he says, "Hey, I got you guys a vehicle." So a Jeep Cherokee, a white one or whatever it was, right? Like the ones that we had back then, I think they were Jeep Cherokees. He's like, "Hey, I got one of those. Why don't you guys take it to Main Side and watch the game at the E Club or whatever it was, right?" Dude, we get to eat burgers and have a few beers and all that, and I remember nobody could go in and out, so he really like put himself, out there, right, to hook us up, because we were out there for months, right, for the CAX. So we go. It was me, a couple other guys, maybe 3 or 4 of us. So we're going to Main Side, right? And my wisdom as a ghetto gangster hood guy that I am, I'm like, "Hey guys, let's drive down to fucking Palm Springs. Let's go to my house. My parents live in Cat City. My homies are there. Let's just go watch the game with them. So let's take the government vehicle and drive from 29 Palms down the mountain to Palm Springs in Rio City." So we drive, dude. We drive all the way to, I can't remember if it was my house or my homie's house. We were drinking, just having a good old time, right? We were supposed to be back by like 9 o'clock at night, let's say, by the time the game ended, and we were late. We got back like midnight. Yeah, got back at midnight. I remember too, like I almost got in a fight with the driver. It was just stupid, horrible decision making, like just completely chaos, right? So we did this, right? So we make it. We get back. We park the car. It's dark. We get into a Quonset hut. We're like, just Gunny comes in 1 a.m. or something, wakes me up, wakes everybody up. "Where were you? What time did you get back?" "Oh, I got back at 9 o'clock or 9:30, whatever time he had said, right? He's like, "Don't fucking lie to me. What time did you get back?" "Gunny, I swear, I got back at 9 o'clock or 9:30, whatever it is," right? And he was just pushing and pushing and pushing. And I stuck with my story. Like, "No, he got back at 9 o'clock or 9:30, right?" And he gave up. He gave up, turned around and left. You can tell he was disappointed, right? And just left. And then one of the other guys is like, "Dude, why did you lie? He knew you weren't here, right? He knew you weren't here. Why did you lie to him?" And after that, cool Gunny Yates became prick Gunny Yates to me, and well-deserved too, right?
Wow.
I imagine he lost all trust in me whatsoever, right? How can you believe anything I say? Why would we? He doesn't want me in his foxhole after I just straight up lied to him,
Yeah.
So that, and I'm telling you, when he turned around, he didn't give me shit. He didn't turn me in. I could have UCMJ'd or something, right? He was just disappointed. I remember seeing that in him. He was just disappointed. He's like, he gave me 2, 3, 4, I don't know how many opportunities to come clean and be honest. And I lied. I lied. So that sticks with me, not just because I'm a horrible person or what I did, right? But the lesson of, once you lose trust in somebody, you lose trust. How can you lead somebody that you don't trust, right? How can you be a leader and not have your people trust you? So that lesson has stuck with me forever. In when I lead employees or whatever it is, just that trust. Like, I'll be as cool as I can be, but just be honest with me. That's all I need. Just be open, be upfront, and just be honest, right? That's all he wanted. He knew we were gone. He knew we didn't get back, and I still. And everybody saw it too. So not only did I look bad to him too, but it was a horrible, I'm just in my gut. I remember having that feeling of like, and I think I tried to talk to him, and he's like, no,
3 strikes and you're out.
I'm done. Like, I'm done. I was done with him, or he was done with me, like that. So that lesson has stuck with me for my whole career. My whole career. You can never be dishonest. Never. Yeah. And then, like, I mean, imagine you, shoot, any of your team, especially in a, imagine if we were in a combat situation or something like that. How do you trust this person like that? Like, that's why, and I think about that all the time.
Yeah.
That was a huge lesson for me. Huge.
Okay.
That's quite the lesson.
That's nasty though, man. Like, man, just straight up lie, dude. I hate it.
Yeah.
Hate it.
Especially him, man, because I remember him and he was cool.
I know.
In fact,
right?
when he gave like one of the best STD speeches for like a 96 one time, he made us laugh so hard. He goes, "Dick's gonna fall off." He goes, "I was in Okinawa. I remember I had this fucking rash going on my dick," and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" So don't you fucking put your dick in anything that I didn't put my dick in. It's he was hilarious, and I just remember that because oddly enough, I'm in the same situation as a company gunny, and I'm talking to my people the same way, and I have to give a health and wellness speech about STDs, and I fucking bring up his speech. I was like, "Let me tell you about the fucking gunny I had."
Now he was cool because he was in MSG duty.
Yeah.
So he'd always talk about his experience. I thought that was so cool.
Whatever happened to him?
I don't know what happened to him. Yeah, I know he became a chief warrant officer, but I remember the Broncos won Super Bowl, but he was there. I remember he was some huge Broncos fan.
Oh.
I just remember that, and bringing an Elway jersey or whoever the quarterback was at the time, and putting it up. Yeah, no, he was a good guy. Yeah, that's what makes that lesson worse, man. That he was a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think his first name was it William?
Possibly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
William Yates.
Yeah.
That
He
sounds
sounds familiar, right?
He spelled it Y-E-A-T, right?
E-S.
E-S.
Yeah,
E-A.
Y-A-T-E-S. Was it Y-E-A?
I thought it was Y-E-A.
Maybe.
T-S. Or maybe it was Y-A.
Y-A-T-E-S, yeah. We're going to have to go down the rabbit hole trying to find out what happened to him. Corporal Alex Mendoza's story is one of resilience, duty, and growth. He did not follow the usual route through the Corps, but every turn, every delay, every detour led him to exactly where he was meant to be. In this episode, we followed Alex from Camp Lejeune, MCT, to 5th Marines in Camp Pendleton, navigating the full stretch of his enlistment. What began as uncertainty turned into clarity, and what started with sacrifice ended in service. Mendoza's story concludes in episode 38 of Chat 62. Until then, remember, your story matters. Semper Fi. This is Eric from the Chat 62 podcast, Marine Corps veteran, and just another guy who's been through some dark nights of the soul. If you're struggling, I want you to know you're not weak. You're not alone. You're not broken. The truth is, a lot of us have been there. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, please just dial 988. It's free, it's confidential, and someone's there to listen 24/7. We need you here. The road's better with you in it. Stay the course.
Yeah, Driftwood.